and present. Okay, so now we're on week 9 of 12. That says 8, but we're on week 9 now. Very cool. So today, this class may be a bit easier or harder, depending on how many signs and terms you know. So those are like all of the markings that are in your music, like dynamics, articulation, stuff like that. And there's a big section on the music theory test that literally has like matched the definition to the term. There's like a huge section just for that. So if you're planning on taking any music theory test, you need to know signs and terms. And if you're taking like a keyboard test, you need to know that as well. And then we're going to do a small musical analysis from that signs and terms knowledge, and then we'll go on to part 3 of the periods, which is the Romantic era. Yay, okay. So signs and terms. Music often contains many signs and terms other than just notes and rhythms, and musicians need to memorize these signs and terms so that they understand what their sheet music is telling them to do. And yeah, we're going to spend most of today's class reviewing and learning musical terms. So yeah, for example, on a test, you may see something like this. They're not going to put like 30 of them, but something like that. Okay, so let's start with some review. I'm sure you guys know what most of these mean. So there's like 10 of these symbols, so I'll just divide them amongst you guys. So hold on, let me circle some of these. So I'll circle these 3 first. Does anyone want to tell me what these 3 symbols mean?
So this first one is soft, and this, or piano.
This one? Or?
And then the second one is more soft. And then the third one is the softest.
Exactly. If you add more P's, it gets softer. Okay, and then do you know what this is called?
The P stands for piano.
Very good. Do you know what the double P's are called?
No, I only know what the one P is.
Okay, no problem. So for those of you who don't know, obviously, hold on, let me type here, and then when I send the slides, I'll type the answers too. So we'll start with the first one, that's piano, obviously. You guys all know that one. You guys can see me typing, right? Okay, good. And then this one is pianissimo. And some of you guys may have heard of that one. I think this is in Italian. That just means very soft. And then
the last one's pianissimo.
Yeah, the last one, there's some debate on what it's called. Some people call it pianissimo. Yeah, 2 of those. And then some of them call it pianissimo. I tried to search up the right answer, but it doesn't really matter. As long as you call it one of these, it's right. Or you can just say triple P, because I'm pretty sure nobody is going to take the time to pronounce that. But if you wanted to know, those are the terms. Okay, so next 3, I'll leave those there for now. Or next 2.
Mezzo forte and mezzo piano.
Very good. And what do they mean?
Middle strong and middle weak.
Yeah, very good. So mezzo piano means medium soft, and mezzo forte means medium loud. Okay, good. This group, anyone want to do that one? That hasn't gone.
Not me.
Okay.
Forte means like loud. Fortissimo, I don't know. Even louder, and then fortissimo something. No, is loudest.
Very good. Yeah, so it's like the opposite of the pianos. Forte means loud, fortissimo means very loud, and then triple F, I'm not even going to bother pronouncing it, means very, very loud.
Fortissimo, or can you also like fortissimo?
Yeah, it's confusing. When I was if you guys know what MCYO is, they called it pianissimo and fortissimo. Yeah, but then my piano teacher calls it the other way, so fortissimo, something like that. Okay, yeah. So let's do these last two right here.
The first one is a crescendo, and the second one is a decrescendo.
Very good. And what do they mean?
The crescendo means getting louder, and the decrescendo means getting softer.
Awesome. And you can also call it diminuendo, whichever one works. Okay, cool. So let's go to the next slide. I have to clear these for now, but I will write the answer. And I think we have the answer on the next slide anyways. There we go. So yeah, if you haven't noticed, these are all dynamics, and dynamics tell you how soft or loud to play the music. So if you have a music analysis and it's like, and they ask you to like circle the dynamics, then you look for these things. So now here are more dynamics that you guys may not have heard of. Does anyone know what any of these symbols mean? Dylan?
Well, I know what the first one means.
Okay, what is the first one called?
Let me see.
Or what does it mean?
Well, it just means like you like soft and you suddenly become loud. I think it's called sforzandos.
Very good. Yes. Okay, it's called sforzando, and I saw like Iris knew the definition too. Both of you, good job. So yeah, sforzando means a sudden accent on whichever note that symbol is placed below.
I know what the last two ones are, but I forgot what they're called.
It's okay. What do you know what they do?
They make the note louder.
Yes, very good. At least the first one does. The second one can have different uses depending on like what the piece is. So let's look at the definitions. Oh, okay. Well, okay. So the first one, it's a sforzando. That's why it's SFC, and it means a sudden sharp accent. So if you see this on like a chord or something, that means you play only that chord very loud. The notes next to that are not as loud. So it's basically like an accent, which you guys all know, except even stronger. Okay, so the next
And pianoforte is just the opposite.
It's actually kind of similar to sforzando, except you have to get quiet immediately after. So pianoforte, I think it's called Fortepiano actually. I don't know why I wrote that. But Fortepiano basically, it's kind of self-explanatory when you look at the symbol. It's F and then a P. And I think Beethoven uses this a lot. Basically, if you have this symbol on a note, you play that note or chord very loud, but then right after that, you get super soft. So it's good for contrast. Okay, and then the next two, these two aren't really dynamics, but might as well just put them here because learning. So the first one of these is an accent, which you guys should all know. So basically, when you see this on a note, it just means you play that note louder than the others. And then this one is a tenuto, which means that you sustain the note for its full value, but sometimes it can also mean that you put a slight accent on it as well. So do all these four symbols make sense? Good. Hope you remember them because we're going to quiz you like right now. So we're going to match the symbol or the word to the definition. This is literally how the exact test will look. They're just going to give you a list and then letters, and you have to write the letter next to the number it is. So we have 8 questions and 4 students. So we're going to go 2 by 2. I'm going to call on you guys, so don't like call out the answer. So we're going to do 1 and 2.
So the first one is to D, and the second one is to H.
Very good. And obviously this gets easier as I call on people because you're running out of answers, but it's good practice. So next I'll call on.
So the third one is C.
Very good, yes.
And the fourth one is very, very soft.
Very good. Like sometimes it might be hard to find the answer, but good job. Okay, so next I'll call on so 5 and 6.
MP is F. Okay, 5 is to F and 6 is to G.
Very good. I did not intend for that to be like that, but very good and very quick. So awesome. And then the last two,
Number 7 is A, and then staccato is E.
very good. And staccato is also an articulation. We didn't put it in the last slide because I'm sure you guys already know what that is. But yes, very good on this exercise. And those are the answers. Okay, so we just did dynamics and a few articulations. So now we're going to go to tempo. So it's really important to remember the names of different tempos in music because it's going to help you in the music theory test and any sight reading and keyboard exams because you're going to know how fast to play the piece. So here I wrote 5 pretty common tempos that you guys probably have seen before. So since there's 5, let's just do one person to each one and then we can figure out the last one together. Okay, so actually I'll just go for the first one as an example. So adagio, that means very slow. And I also know the tempo is like around 60 beats per minute on the metronome, so I'm just gonna write that as an answer. So that's just an example. Okay, so next is andante, and I'll call on Iris to answer this one.
Andante is like walking pace.
Very good. That's like the exact definition. Do you know what speed that would be? It's okay if you don't.
I don't know, like 80. I don't know.
Yeah, very close. It's like 70 to 80. I'm not gonna write any more numbers because I have it on the next slide, but yes, it is walking pace, so pretty slow. Next is moderato.
Moderato just sounds like middle and it doesn't mean middle like a regular speed kinda.
Very good. Yeah, it sounds like moderate and or middle, so exactly. Okay, good. And next, presto.
Fast.
Very good. Yes, it means very fast. Presto is one of the fastest speeds.
Fast is actually allegro. Presto is really fast, but actually the fastest is prestissimo, which is like really fast. Just like forte, louder is fortissimo. Presto even faster is prestissimo, and I think that's the fastest.
Yeah, you're actually right. But so basically, I'm pretty sure like the ississimo ending just means that you like intensify whatever the thing is. So yeah, prestissimo or however it's pronounced is faster than presto. Good luck if you have a piece that fast because I haven't. But yeah, presto is more common, but yes, Alvin, you're definitely correct. So vivace is the last one, and
It's like kind of like in between moderato and presto. I don't really know.
yeah, you're right. But there is a big gap between moderato and presto, so it's okay. It means a lively speed because viva means life, so vivace means lively speed. It's around like 160 to 176 beats per minute. Hopefully those numbers make sense to you if you play an instrument. Yeah, it's pretty fast, but it's less fast than presto. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. We'll see on the next slide anyway. So, yay, let's learn tempos. There are many more tempos than this, but I put one of the most common ones. So from here you can see the slow tempos. I color-coded them. So at the slowest, we have adagio and lento. You also might have one called like, I don't know how it's pronounced, but it's spelled grave. It's probably pronounced grave, I don't know. But that's also a very slow speed. And then we have andante, which means a walking tempo. Andar means walk in Spanish, so probably something similar in Italian. That's why it means a walking tempo. I'm not going to read out all these numbers, but you guys can read that for yourselves and get a feeling of how slow each speed is. So next, into the medium tempos, we have moderato, which means like a moderate or medium tempo. And you also have allegretto, which is faster than moderato. Allegretto is basically a slower form of allegro. So just think of that when you see this word. It's like 100 beats per minute. Okay, now we have the fast tempos. So allegro, I'm sure you guys have all heard of. It means fast and bright. And allegro can actually have a really big range depending on the piece, but it's usually around 120 to 152. It's still a big range, but yeah. And then vivace, we just saw that. It means fast and lively, and it's faster than allegro, but slower than presto. So presto is very fast. It's like everything like 160 to 200 plus. And obviously you can use prestissimo if it's that fast. But these are like the 8 speeds we're going to be focusing on in this lesson. So I'll give you guys like 10 seconds to look it over, and then we'll do the exercise. Okay. Okay, so we're just gonna do some piece analysis. This isn't the musical analysis, but yeah. And these are all by romantic composers, which we're gonna be learning about in like 3 minutes. So yeah. Okay, so I'll call on someone for this. Identify and explain the tempo marking on this excerpt.
Tempo. Oh, allegro. That's fast. Poco.
Yeah, you don't really have to worry about the other words as much, but all you know that is you saw allegro, which means fast and bright. So yeah, allegro means fast and quick, and then if you translate it, it basically means poco means a little, and then con affetto means with affection. So it means a little bit faster with affection. This is a very pretty piece, so that makes sense. Okay, next piece. This is by Rachmaninoff, another romantic composer.
It's like in the middle. It's like 96 to
Okay, you don't need to give a number because like I said, like the moderato, like those names, the tempo number can vary for different pieces because each piece has like different notes. So don't worry about the number, just define the term.
it's like medium.
Very good.
It's hard to explain.
It's okay. Yeah, I mean, you were basically right. Moderato just means like medium, moderate speed. You can notice here it's 66 and not like 80 like we said, but that's because, I mean, as you can see in the beginning, it's just like whole notes. And actually after this measure, it becomes really fast. So that's probably why the moderate marking is a bit lower, because the notes are super fast after this measure. Okay, so this one is by Chopin. I'm actually playing these pieces because I like don't know any other pieces, so that's just a fun fact.
Andante spianto tranquillo. Andante means walking pace, and I have no idea what spianto and tranquillo mean.
It's okay, you got the main part right. So andante means walking speed, and spianato means like level, and then tranquillo means tranquil, which means calm. So it's basically slow and calm. But
Do you
yeah,
speak Italian?
no, I use Google Translate.
Oh.
I take Spanish though, so it's like a little bit similar. Why did that do that twice? Okay. Yeah. So I think we started a bit late, so we're going to end at 6:35 today, but let's get through this. So the following terms, so these are like just more terms. The following terms can describe how to play a piece of music based on emotion. So like you see like sweetly, sorrowful, those types of stuff. Okay, so dolce means sweetly, doloroso means sorrowful, molto means very, and as you saw before, poco means little. Pesante means heavy, so if you have a passage that's pesante, you probably have to like, I don't know. And then spiritoso means spirited, you can see that in the word. And then tranquilo means tranquil and calm. So there's just a few of those types of words, but yeah. Okay, so this one, I know we didn't get like that much time to look on the last slide, but we're gonna try our best. Okay, so we have 7. So let's just have each person do 1 or 2. So number 1.
Number 1 is sweetly.
Very good. Good memory. So dolce means sweetly. You can do number 2 also.
Number 2 is, what is it? Sorrowful.
Very good. And make sure not to get these 2 terms messed up because they sound kind of similar and they mean really different things. Okay, so number 3 and number 4. Who wants to do that?
So 3 is verdi, and
Good.
4 is 4 is little.
Awesome, yes. So they're kind of like the opposites, sort of. Okay, 5 and 6.
Pisante or something. Heavy.
Good, you guys have good memory. Wow, okay.
And
And
then
then, yeah.
the next one is, of course, spirited, because they both have spirit.
Very good. And Alvin didn't get to do it this time, but I'm sure you would have done really well. Well, 7, there's only 1 left, so it's calm or tranquil, same thing. So if you
Well, actually, there's a word called tranquility.
what is it called?
There's a word called tranquility, and according to the dictionary, I forgot what it means. It means calm.
Tranquil means calm. So tranquilo, obviously it means the same thing. So very good observation. Yeah, so when you see these terms in your music, I mean, just follow them and you'll play better. Okay, those are the answers. Would you guys rather do this or learn about the Romantic period?
This.
Okay, yeah, you guys have one of these on your homework anyways. So yeah, you guys are good with those anyways. So yay, Romantic era. We're gonna go over this in like 6 minutes. That's Chopin, you guys should all know him. So the Romantic era was from 1820 to 1910. The Romantic era was known for its intense energy and passion. Music became much less rigid and gave way to much more expression and emotion. So there was a freedom in style and more song-like melodies. And there were also chromatic harmonies and discord. So that's a really important term. Discord is basically a state of disharmony between notes and chords. So it doesn't sound that like harmonic, but then it usually resolves to a harmonic tone. So you're gonna hear a lot of that in romantic music, and that's what makes romantic music sound so good. Okay, so instruments of the Romantic period. The piano was immensely popular in the Romantic period, and the symphony orchestra increased the variety of instruments even more. So if you remember, like last week, 2 weeks ago, we said the symphony orchestra increased the number of instruments in the classical period. So now they did it even more, because I guess like technology or something. So now there's a bass clarinet, contrabassoon, so a really low bassoon, and more percussion instruments. So as you can see in this picture, that is an orchestra. Okay, so these are the characteristics. This is what to pay attention to. So, music of the Romantic period was characterized by A, more emotion. We already talked about this. Much of the music from the Romantic period was written about people, places, or feelings. So this is why many Romantic pieces started using actual titles that reflect the mood of the piece. For example, The Merry Farmer by Schumann, if you guys have heard of that. Like in the classical period, they would have like Sonata number 2 or like Prelude number 1, like boring names like that. But in the Romantic period, they started using actual names, if that makes sense. You'll realize that when you play pieces. Okay, and then B is more complicated harmonies. That's what discord means. So there's more colorful notes using more chromaticism, so like half steps, and straying away from the tonal scale. So like maybe like transposition or like changing keys a lot more. Okay, and then C is lyrical melodies. So melodies were often very lovely and singing and often use rubato. Rubato just means like you'll slow down at certain sections in the music, and you'll find that if you play piano or violin, actually anything, and you're playing like Mozart, you're typically not gonna like slow down suddenly. But if you're playing like Chopin or something, your teacher might tell you, oh, like take it slower here or something, and show more expression. So that's basically rubato. And I think this is the last characteristic, is more complicated rhythms. That's also a big one. So music in the Romantic period had much more syncopation, if you guys know what that is, and complicated note combinations, such as 2 against 3. One of the pieces I'm playing has 3 against 5, and it was a pain to learn, but that's an example of a complicated rhythm. Here's a picture, I think that's Liszt. Yeah. Okay, so we're not gonna go too far into this, but a major advancement in different forms of music was program music, so music that had a story, like a symphony that tells a story through music, or like a concert. Okay, and a good example of that is Romeo and Juliet. It uses music to tell a story, so, and you guys should all know the story of Romeo and Juliet, so that could be interesting. You guys can look into that if you're interested. Okay, and then other forms that you guys have probably heard of more are the waltz, the polonaise, mazurka, nocturnes, preludes, and rhapsodies. So those did not exist before the Romantic period. And I'm sure you guys have probably played some form of this before. These are some really famous pieces. There's a Chopin nocturne in E flat major. I don't know the opus number, and Chopin has a bunch of polonaises as well. And then other people wrote the other forms, like waltz and rhapsody. Okay, so you guys can feel free to listen to these Romantic era pieces. These are like my favorite classical music pieces. Just putting that out there. The Romantic era is my favorite era of music because, like I explained, there's so much like emotion and stuff. So yeah, feel free to check these pieces out. They're very good. And these are some composers of the Romantic era. I'm sure you guys have heard of Chopin. He's basically like one of the best composers there ever was. There's Liszt, Rachmaninoff, and Dvorak. I know a lot of violinists know him. And there's much more, obviously. And here are some facts about them. We're not going to read these, but they're going to be on the slide. So if you want to know more about these composers, you could just read these. And yeah, there's Tchaikovsky as well, and Mendelssohn. Okay, so this is the last slide. I think it's pretty important to know differences between the two periods. Otherwise, why did we learn them? So some similarities between the classical and Romantic period is the homophonic texture. That means that there's one clear melody. Remember, we learned polyphonic in the Baroque era, and that means the melody was in the treble clef and the bass clef. But in classical and Romantic music, that doesn't really happen. The melody is usually really clear. And they both had concertos and symphonies, and they used orchestral instruments, and they used the piano a lot. Okay, and then the differences between those two. The Romantic era had more emotional melodies and these different forms like waltzes, mazurkas. And the Romantic era had more discord and syncopation, and remember, they often named their works with real titles. So these are the similarities and differences between the Baroque and Romantic period. We already talked about this texture. And if you guys remember from a long time ago, we learned that the Baroque era has more improvisation and less lyrical melodies than the Romantic era. Okay, that is it for the lesson. So do you guys have any questions about what we learned today? No? Okay. Well, very good. You guys did a really good job today. So I will send out the homework and send the slides to you guys. And then we'll see you all on Saturday. Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.